Hello, friends. I find myself in a quandary. I've got 3 pages done. Page 1, page 2, page 3. This is just this is the same as page 3. That's the size that can post to Instagram. I've got to do page 4. And it's always kind of a pain. Come back here. I have a rough outline, but I want to change it a little bit. The original outline I had Isolde has been affected by the Argentite battery. Argentite. And I want to show that she doesn't actually transform. They're gonna put it into some kind of vessel. So if you're just coming in now, I'll explain. Originally, Rabbit Fighter and Gallows came in on this robot hand from off plane, and it's leaking a substance that's like kryptonite to Isolde, who happens to be of a special werewolf bloodline, and the corroded battery is leaking Argentite. So it's forcing me to change. She's going to control herself, but it'll be a close call. That's the story beat that we're going for. We're really, so this is introducing a story beat that Isolde has a kryptonite-like substance. And when I say kryptonite, it doesn't weaken her. It actually it makes her much stronger. It makes her go berserk, though. It puts her out of control. So we got to figure out, because I don't work from a full script. I work from a sort of outline of where things need to go. Maybe it should go upside down like this, with a big panel down below. And I'm usually thinking in terms of about 5 panels or 6 panels. That's about how much room I need for things. So I've kind of envisioned the last panel is where they're getting on this desert ship that's gonna. It's like a sailing ship that goes on a desert, and I don't really know. I think it. Like, I want to have the boat right up here, and they'll be standing in front of it. That should be the last panel. I think I should probably put everybody on at least the same eye line. Whoa, uniform. And actually, the other concerns I have when you're putting together a panel like this are the sort of compositional ones where you're trying to do rule of thirds. Now, there's 2 ways to think of rule of thirds. Generally, you sort of build this grid of 3s here, and mine's not exact. And you're looking for these little spots right here. But if you can't get that, and sometimes you can't get the rule of thirds, sometimes, you've got speech bubbles, you've got lots of characters you need to put in, there's all kinds of things that you're going to need to do. You may not have the ability to do that. And maybe my concept is wrong. This boat is not huge, but it's only big enough for the 3 of them. You notice I've only got 2 characters here. I think the other character Maybe I could put them right here. I think the other character could be right here, kind of in profile, you know, real big. Something like that. Another option is to take the whole thing down. Well, let me go with what I was saying with rule of thirds. Rule of thirds, we're looking for these sort of little the nexus points. You can also just do a half measure on the rule of thirds and just say, I'm just going to divide it by 3 and make sure that things are vertically, you know, at this line and this line. We want to make sure things are over there. Or you could just do it or horizontally. Vertically would be here, so characters would be just kind of in this line, up and down. It's inevitable that it's going to mess with your rule of thirds, because no matter what you draw, up at the top, you're going to have speech bubbles, and those are going to also cover some of the art. I'm trying to erase some of this. I kind of want to make the boat a bit smaller, and here's the reason, is because if you want to make something seem more impressive and exciting and epic, you don't make it bigger, you make it smaller. So maybe I leave it down here like this. So we can see like maybe the whole mast is up here. With the sail unfurled. I had this idea that the sail was going to be kind of like a junk or a catamaran or something, where it kind of has these bamboo or some kind of lightweight wood in between, and then the wood would come down here, and it has these little skids, because it's actually it's not a boat for the ocean, it's a boat for the desert. It's going to skim across the sand. The problem is I gotta draw it. I haven't really designed it. I was just kind of hoping that we'd figure it out. Now, let's see. I think that one thing we could do to fix this is I've got the sails going straight up. I think the sail could actually, if you look at the catamarans from the Carolines, I'm really into sailing ships. They kind of tilt back anyways. But the sail wouldn't look like that. First of all, we wouldn't have the sail unfurled while the ship is at rest, but I think we need to show the sail unfurled just to just for the impression factor it'll make. All right, so this has kind of a flexible wooden boom. It should show that they're on the sand. It's Iseult showing them. So we know that she's fine, she's okay. She's pointing to it and saying, this is it, this is how we're going to get there. They're going to this place called the Temple of Storms. It's in the desert. Rabbit Fighter's blind eye is his other eye. And so this will be the... There we go. The bow. Maybe I'm making it a bit too big or thinking it too much. Most people don't really think too much about sailboats. There would be some ropes too. All kind of ropes. Whoops. He's surprised to see it. But how do we do all this stuff beforehand? Like, what happens first? If we say that, and by the way, I think I've really kind of pooched it on his ears. Let's reduce the opacity. There we go. That helps a lot. Where to capture this character in profile? Okay. We'll know where the... There we go, that's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. Okay. So what happens on these other panels? Well, one of the panels is... maybe we'll do 3 panels on this first one. One of the panels is... I think Rabbit Fighter looks concerned. Hey, what's going on? You know? So... we could have 2 things going on in this panel. How about this? First of all, let's make it a little bit bigger. We're going to make sure to show Gallows putting the battery into this jar. And he's got the jar. Meanwhile, Rabbit Fighter is like concerned and he's looking over in this direction.
It's armed, not ready to arm.
Where he notices something's wrong right over here. They're both wearing togas now because they're in the mythological shard. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. So he's in front, he's there, and then this is part of the... In the foreground we'll have, you know, the hand that he's removing the battery from. And then we have Iseult, who through intense concentration is able to control the transformation. She actually resists it. So she might already even be talking to Rabbit and saying, "No, I'm fine." She might even admit that there's a reason why I can't be around the Argentite. So this is what roughs look like. They're always very rough. And then, okay, so then what happens? Let me go back to my outline for a second. I'm fine. There's something about where to. We're heading to the Temple of Storms. Okay, so we haven't even said where they're going to. But I think that we should have, like, his line here has to say, I'll just put it in this lead line jar for safekeeping, you know, so that we know that it's, you know, like it's inside the jar and she's not affected by it anymore. What would he be holding it with? Just his hand, I guess. So I'm looking at my hand. Maybe he's got a thumb up and a finger. Actually, before he was wearing the toga, he had a costume with gloves on, so maybe we'll see him wearing one of the gloves, like... Luckily, he'll say something like, "Luckily I still have my gloves," or something like that. I'm fine. The next line is, our next step is to take it off, is that we have to head to the Sea of Storms, so... or the Sea of Sand. The Temple of Storms. Now we could do this in one panel, or we could do it in 2 panels. One of my real concerns is I want to make sure that the figures are different in every panel. Also, I don't want my panels to completely line up. Like, I want the panel breaks to be just a little bit offset. Like I've moved this one slightly to the right, you know? Slight offset. We could do a thing where she's up in front. Maybe not an extreme one. This is a good opportunity, actually, to do the rule of 3. When you have a big character up here and a little character down here. Something like that. Now, he's already asked, like on the previous page. I'm telling him he's working on this roof for a while. He says, "What are we supposed to do? Throw this in a volcano?" And she ignores him. So I think he should kind of repeat the question. Well, now that we've got it, maybe he's holding the jar. And we've been told we have to get it off of the shard. She's gonna say, she's got to introduce the idea that there's this place called the Temple of Storms. Okay, so she's... Okay, so it's actually kind of an important panel. So maybe this is the larger panel of the two. See all the stuff I have to work out? Alright, let's take this. Make it a bit smaller. We're going to push this panel down this way. Actually, you know what she can do? Is she can be just describing this place, and it's going to be in the desert. I think this might be a 3-point perspective, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm looking at it. We have to go on like photo reference and find some kind of ancient temple. And it's got some statues out front. Maybe there's some big giant statues in there. And she just verbally describes this place. Okay, it has to be taken to the Temple of Storms. And from there, there's a permanent portal that you can use to get rid of the Argentite. It's located in the desert. So, and maybe we show them as just little stick figures down at the bottom. Kind of want to have there's another panel. You know, how are we going to get there? And she's going to say we have. And the way we're going to get there is through this, and it's this sand sailor ship. You know? And it has to end, because I think every page has to end on like a beat. It ends with them showing the sand sailor. And he's kind of like surprised to see it. I don't like how I did his eyes over here. Hang on. I don't know. I'm gonna have to fight with this page a lot. We might go to 6 panels. Like I might like squash these over. And throw in a third panel. I could just do the, that's all fine and good, but how do we get there if it's in the desert? Gotta have some kind of thing here, and then... You know, where's he silt? Sand. In this. I don't like his expression. Alright, so that's going to be our task here. So I'm going to tighten up the roughs. And I actually have to put the dialogue on the page at this stage too. It's important that the dialogue goes on the page so that we know what we're dealing with as far as like compositionally. Is that close? I think it's got too much of a snout. That's much better. That's what it's supposed to be. And then if I take off these. I kind of want to have him leaning back a little bit, like whoa. Same thing with Gallows. Here he is. So there's our quest. All right, so please like, follow, and subscribe. We're almost at 30 minutes right here. There's a lot of cleaning up I got to do and sort of working out details and things to get the drawing part. But these are roughs, and that's how I think of roughs. I mean, I think of them one page at a time. I usually have one beat per page, so sometimes I think of the last beat on the page first. Draw that last beat on the page, or at least plan for it, and then try and fill in the stuff that's going to have to come right before that beat. Alright, so I think that's it. I will talk to you later. Have a great weekend.